Thursday marks 20 years since Princess Diana was killed in a car crash inside a Paris tunnel.
For years, people have wondered what really happened to Princess Diana. Some believed it was just a tragic accident, but others thought there was a secret behind it. Now, something unbelievable has happened. Queen Camilla has been sentenced for Diana's death. How did it come to this? What will happen to the royal family now? The truth has finally come out, and nothing will ever be the same again. How Camilla became a suspect. For years, people have whispered, argued, and even shouted about Camilla's role in Diana's tragic story. Was she really just the other woman? Or was there something more? Let's go back to where it all started. Camilla and Charles go way back, before Diana was even in the picture. They met in the early 1970s and fell in love, but for one reason or another, Charles didn't marry her. Instead, he ended up with Diana, a young, beautiful, and innocent woman who seemed perfect for the role of a princess. But there was a problem. Charles never really got over Camilla. Even after marrying Diana, Charles kept Camilla close. Too close. Diana wasn't stupid. She saw what was happening. Imagine being married to a man who secretly loves someone else. That's what Diana had to live with. And she didn't just stay silent about it. In 1995, she sat down for one of the most famous interviews in history. Looking straight at the camera, she said the words that would be remembered forever. There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded. Boom. Just like that, the world knew the truth. Diana was suffering, and Camilla was the reason. People turned against Camilla instantly. Even after Diana's tragic death in 1997, Camilla was still seen as the villain. When she finally married Charles in 2005, many people refused to accept her. Some still blame her for Diana's pain, and now, with new evidence coming to light, some believe she played a role in Diana's death itself. But how did she go from being a disliked woman to a murder suspect? Let's talk about it. New evidence that sparked investigation. For years, the case of Diana's death was considered closed. The official story was that she died in a tragic car crash in Paris, caused by a drunk driver trying to escape the paparazzi. But was that really all there was to it? Recently, something changed. New documents were leaked. Documents that, according to insiders, were never meant to be seen by the public. These papers hinted at a bigger plot behind Diana's death, something much darker than an accident. But that's not all. Some former royal staff members, who had stayed quiet for decades, finally spoke up. One witness, whose name hasn't been revealed yet for security reasons, claimed that Diana feared for her life before she died. She allegedly told her closest friends that she believed someone was planning to get rid of her. And guess what? She even wrote a letter predicting that she would die in a car crash. That's chilling, isn't it? But here's where Camilla comes in. According to these leaked documents and witness accounts, there were people within the royal circle who saw Diana as a problem. She was too popular, too powerful, and, most importantly, she wasn't afraid to speak the truth. This made her dangerous, especially to those who wanted Charles and Camilla to eventually be together without any obstacles. Now think about it. If you were Camilla and you knew your path to becoming queen was being blocked by a woman the whole world adored, how would you feel? Some believe Camilla didn't just wait for fate to remove Diana. She helped make it happen. But is that really true? Why the case was reopened. For years, people who questioned Diana's death were dismissed as conspiracy theorists. But when so many people believe something, can they all be wrong? The pressure to reopen the case had been growing for a long time. With the new evidence coming to light, authorities had no choice but to take another look. The big question was, if Diana's death wasn't an accident, then who was behind it? And if there was a plan to eliminate her, how deep did it go? Investigators started pulling old records, re-examining statements, and questioning people who had stayed silent for years. One thing became clear. There were too many loose ends in Diana's death. Too many strange coincidences. And the more they dug, the more Camilla's name started popping up. At first, many thought this was crazy. Why would Camilla of all people be involved? But then, when the leaked documents suggested that Diana had warned about a plot against her, people started listening. Diana had mentioned a woman close to Charles, who might have had a reason to see her gone. Could she have been talking about Camilla? The legal pressure leading to Camilla's involvement. As investigators gathered more evidence, the royal family stayed silent. They didn't want to comment on rumors. But behind palace walls, something was happening. Lawyers were being called. Meetings were being held. There was a real fear that this case could turn into the biggest royal scandal in history. And when the police officially announced they were looking into Camilla as a person of interest, the world went crazy. Imagine that. A queen being investigated for the murder of another queen. It sounds like something out of a movie, but it was really happening. Camilla, the woman who had spent decades trying to win over the British public, was now at the center of a criminal case. Some sources claim that when she first heard about the investigation, she laughed it off. She thought it was ridiculous. But as days went by and more evidence came out, she stopped laughing. She reportedly became paranoid, avoiding public events and staying behind palace doors as much as possible. And then came the breaking point. One of the former royal staff members who had been close to Diana was brought in for questioning. What they said has not been fully revealed yet, but insiders claim it was something huge, something that directly linked Camilla to the case. Whatever it was enough to push investigators to take the next step. Charges and key accusations. The prosecution wasted no time. They made it clear from the very beginning. They believed Camilla was involved in Diana's death. But how? What proof did they have? First, they talked about motive. Why would Camilla want Diana gone? Well, everyone knows about the love triangle. Diana herself had said it. There were 3 of us in this marriage. Camilla was always there in the background, waiting. But was she just waiting, or did she take matters into her own hands? Then came the real bombshell. The prosecution claimed they had evidence linking Camilla to people who might have had a hand in Diana's accident. They brought up secret phone calls, hidden meetings, and even documents that suggested Camilla knew more than she ever admitted. But here's the real kicker. The prosecution hinted that Camilla may have been working with powerful people. People with influence, money, and the ability to make things disappear. Could this mean the royal family itself was involved? Was there a hidden network protecting her all these years? The courtroom was silent. People were hanging on to every word. Was Camilla just a woman in love, or was she part of something much darker? Camilla's defense. Then it was time for Camilla's lawyers to speak. They had one job, to convince everyone that Camilla was innocent. But how do you fight against years of rumors, conspiracy theories, and a public that never really liked you in the first place? Camilla sat still, her face pale, as her lawyers argued that she had nothing to do with Diana's death. They said it was absurd. They pointed out that Camilla wasn't even in the country when Diana died. How could she have planned something so big? Then they played the sympathy card. Camilla was a victim too, they said. The public had hated her for years. She had suffered. She had been called names, blamed for ruining Charles and Diana's marriage, and now she was being accused of something even worse. They painted her as a woman who had simply fallen in love with the wrong man at the wrong time. And then came the biggest moment. Did Camilla herself speak? Did she take the stand? Yes, she did. She stood up, hands shaking slightly, and looked straight at the jury. Her voice cracked as she spoke. I did not kill Diana. I had nothing to do with her death. But then came the twist. She didn't stop there. She turned the blame elsewhere. She suggested that if there was a conspiracy, then she wasn't the one pulling the strings. Someone else was. But who? Was she hinting at the royal family? The government? Someone even bigger? People whispered among themselves. What did she mean? Was she telling the truth? Or was she just trying to save herself? Shocking testimonies. And then, the trial took another shocking turn. Witnesses started coming forward. Some of them had never spoken before. Others had been ignored for years. But now they had the world's attention. One former royal staff member claimed they had seen strange meetings between Camilla and people linked to British intelligence. They had overheard conversations about Diana being a problem. A driver who worked for the royal family revealed something even darker. He claimed that the night Diana died, there was already talk inside the palace about what had happened, before the news had even broken. How could they have known so soon? Unless they had expected it? And then came the biggest shock of all. A former security officer, someone who had worked closely with Charles and Camilla, took the stand. He looked nervous, wiping sweat from his forehead. He took a deep breath and then said it. "I was told to keep quiet. I was told Diana's accident wasn't an accident." Gasps filled the courtroom. Even Camilla's lawyers looked shaken. Who told him to keep quiet? Why? The judge called for order, but the damage was done. The jury had heard everything. The world had heard everything. Final verdict and sentencing. The courtroom waited. Hours passed. People outside were glued to their screens. What would happen? Would Camilla walk free? Or would this be the day justice was finally served? Then, the jury returned. The room held its breath. The judge asked the foreman to read the verdict. Guilty. The word echoed through the room. Camilla blinked as if she hadn't heard it. Guilty? Number that couldn't be right. The judge began to speak. He talked about the seriousness of the crime, the need for justice, and then finally he gave the sentence. Life in prison. The room exploded. Some people cheered, others gasped. Reporters rushed outside to break the news. Queen Camilla, now just Camilla Parker Bowles again, had been sentenced to life. And then came her reaction. At first, she sat frozen. Her face turned red, her hands clenched into fists. Then, suddenly, she stood up and shouted, "This is a setup! I didn't do anything." She turned to Charles, who was sitting nearby, his face pale and expressionless. "Say something. Tell them." But Charles didn't move. He just stared ahead, like he wasn't really there. Camilla tried again. She begged, she screamed, but no one listened. The guards moved in, grabbing her arms. She fought, but it was no use. They led her away, her voice still echoing through the room. And just like that, it was over. But was it? Because as Camilla was taken out, the questions still remained. Was she really the mastermind? Or was she just a piece in a much bigger game? And if she was, then who was still out there, hiding in the shadows? So, what happens next? Camilla has just been sentenced. The entire world is in shock, and now the big question is, where does she go from here? Camilla's fate. Now, let's be real. Camilla is not the kind of person to just sit back and say, "Oh well, I guess I'll go to prison now." She has spent decades climbing her way to the top. She went from being the most hated woman in Britain to the queen of the country. Do you really think she will give up that easily? Camilla still has powerful friends, expensive lawyers, and, most importantly, King Charles himself. He has spent years defending her, making the public accept her, and trying to erase the memory of Princess Diana. Would he just stand there and let her rot in jail? Absolutely not. So, of course, the first thing Camilla will do is appeal. Her lawyers will argue that the trial was unfair, that the evidence wasn't strong enough, and that she was targeted because of who she is. They might even say that the case was nothing but a conspiracy to bring down the monarchy. But here's the problem. Appeals take time. A long, long time. While the process is happening, Camilla will have to wait. And no, she won't be waiting in her fancy palace. She will be in prison. Well, Camilla won't be thrown into just any regular prison. She won't be sitting in a tiny cell with 10 other women. She is still the queen consort, and whether people like it or not, she has special status. This means she will likely be sent to a high-security prison for VIPs, where she will have her own cell, some level of protection, and probably more comfort than an average prisoner. One possible location is HMP Bronzefield, the UK's most high-profile women's prison. It has housed some of the most dangerous female criminals in Britain, but it also has private cells for high-profile inmates. Camilla would likely have limited contact with other prisoners for safety reasons, but make no mistake, prison is still prison. There are no royal servants, no fancy dinners, No designer dresses, just a small room, a metal bed, and a life completely controlled by prison rules. Can you imagine Camilla waking up to the sound of prison guards, eating simple food off a plastic tray, and having no access to luxury? Would she even be able to survive it? And then there's another question. How will the public react to seeing a queen in prison? Would people feel bad for her? Or would they celebrate, saying justice has finally been served for Diana? The monarchy's future. Now, here's where things take a dark turn for the royal family. Because this isn't just about Camilla. This is about King Charles too. Think about it. His wife has just been convicted for being involved in the death of Princess Diana. His entire reputation is now hanging by a thread. People are furious. The media is going crazy. Protests are breaking out in the streets. And the big question on everyone's mind is, can King Charles stay on the throne after this? For years, there were already people who didn't want Charles to be king. Many believed the throne should have gone straight to Prince William after Queen Elizabeth's death. Charles was never as popular as his mother, and now, with this scandal, his rule is in serious danger. The British monarchy survives on public support. If the people lose faith, the system starts to fall apart. And let's be honest, after this trial, how many people will still support him? The Queen was loved because she stayed away from scandals. Charles, on the other hand, is now right in the middle of one of the biggest royal scandals of all time. Some experts believe that he will try to hold on to the throne, hoping the public will eventually move on. But others think he might be forced to step down, either because of public pressure, or even because of a decision made within the royal family itself. And if Charles steps down, who takes over? Prince William. Will this scandal lead to the end of the monarchy? Now, this is the biggest question of them all. Could this be the final nail in the coffin for the British royal family? We have to remember, the monarchy has already been struggling. Younger generations are losing interest. Many people feel like the royal family is outdated, unnecessary, and a waste of taxpayer money. But this could push things over the edge. For decades, people have suspected that Diana's death wasn't an accident. Now, with Camilla's sentencing, many will see this as proof that something dark has always been lurking within the royal family. And when the public loses trust, it's very hard to get it back. Imagine this. Millions of people demanding the monarchy be abolished. Protests outside Buckingham Palace. Governments debating whether to cut off funding to the royals. Could we really see the end of the monarchy in our lifetime? One thing is for sure. After this scandal, the royal family will never be the same again. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Camilla deserves this sentence? Will Charles survive the backlash, or is his reign doomed? And most importantly, do you believe this could be the beginning of the end for the British royal family? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you don't want to miss the next update on this insane royal scandal, subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when I drop a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
At the time it was awkward, I was a bit shocked.
I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
Prince Harry has just revealed something shocking, something that could change everything about Meghan Markle. For years, their story has been full of surprises, drama, and mystery. But this new discovery is different. It's something no one saw coming, something that could turn their entire world upside down. People have always questioned Meghan's past, her choices, and even her true intentions. Some believe in her, others doubt her. But now, Harry has found something that might finally bring real answers. What is it? How will it change the way we see Meghan forever? The truth is out, and nothing will ever be the same again. The shocking discovery. Something big has just come out, and it might change everything we thought we knew about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. It's the kind of revelation that makes you sit up and ask, wait, what just happened? Prince Harry has discovered something that not only affects Meghan, but also shakes the very foundation of their relationship with the royal family. This isn't just another news story. This could explain so much about why they left the royal family, why they spoke out, and why the world has been so divided about them. According to sources, Harry recently came across new information, something he didn't know before. Some say it was a leaked document. Others believe it was a confession from someone close to the royal family. But whatever it was, it changed his perspective. It wasn't just about how the media treated Meghan. It was about the role certain members of the royal family may have played behind the scenes. For years, Meghan has said she felt unsupported, isolated, and even targeted. She claimed there were efforts to make her life difficult, to control the narrative, and even to push her out. Many dismissed her as dramatic or exaggerating. But now, with this new discovery, Harry is seeing things differently. If this revelation proves true, then Meghan may have been right all along. How he reacted. Imagine discovering something that makes you rethink everything. That's what Harry is going through. He always believed that leaving the royal family was the right choice. But this new information might be making him realize just how deep the situation really was. Was he angry? Absolutely. People close to him say he felt betrayed, not just for himself, but for Meghan. He has spent years defending her, standing by her side, and trying to protect her. But if this revelation shows that people in his own family worked against them, then that's a level of betrayal no one can prepare for. Harry has always been emotional when it comes to Meghan. We've seen him tear up when talking about how the media treated his mother, Princess Diana. And we've seen the same fire in his eyes when speaking about Meghan's struggles. But this time, it's different. Because now, it's not just about public perception, it's about his own family's involvement. Does he regret leaving the royal family? Probably not. But this could make him regret ever trusting certain people within it, and that's a painful thing to realize. How Meghan feels about it. For Meghan, this moment might be both heartbreaking and validating. Imagine spending years trying to tell people your truth, only to be told you're making it up. And then finally, someone, especially your husband, finds the proof. That's what's happening here. Has Meghan responded publicly? Not yet. But if we know Meghan, she will wait for the right moment. Whether through an interview, a documentary, or even just through sources close to her, we will hear her side. And when we do, it will be powerful. Because this isn't just about the royal family anymore. It's about truth. It's about what she went through, what she survived, and how she came out stronger. If this revelation proves her right, then she finally has something she never had before. Undeniable proof that she wasn't just making noise. But at the same time, this is painful for her. Because while she has moved on, while she has built a life with Harry and their children in the US, this discovery forces her to relive the past. And that's not easy. Impact on the royal family. So, how is Buckingham Palace reacting to all of this? The answer is silence. Total silence. And that silence speaks volumes. Whenever something controversial about the royal family comes out, they follow one simple rule: never complain, never explain. But sometimes, silence is louder than words. And right now, the world is watching, waiting to see if they will finally break that rule. Behind closed doors, sources say there is tension. The royal family has already dealt with so much drama because of Harry and Meghan. The Oprah interview, the Netflix series, the book Spare. They thought the worst was over. But this new discovery? It's bringing back all those old wounds. And the biggest question now is, who in the family knew about this? Who was involved? And most importantly, will anyone take responsibility? King Charles, Prince William, and Kate's role. Let's talk about the three people who are most affected by this. King Charles, Prince William, and Kate Middleton. For King Charles, this is another blow to his already complicated relationship with Harry. As a father, he may feel sad that things have reached this point. But as a king, he has to protect the monarchy. Will he reach out to Harry? Maybe. But will he admit any wrongdoing? Highly unlikely. Then, there's Prince William. His relationship with Harry has been cold for a while now. They were once the closest brothers, but now they barely speak. If this discovery suggests that William knew something and didn't tell Harry, that could make things even worse between them. And finally, there's Kate. She has always been seen as the perfect royal. But what if this new information changes that? What if she was more involved in the Meghan drama than people realized? That's a question many are now asking. Will there be consequences? This could change everything for Harry. Right now, he and Meghan are already out of the royal family, but they still have connections. They still have titles. They are still technically the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But could this be the final straw? Could the royal family strip them of their titles completely? Some royal experts say yes. Others believe the family will just try to ignore it and move on. But one thing is clear. This will affect Harry's place in the royal family forever. What's next for Harry and Meghan? So, what happens now? Will Harry and Meghan speak out? Knowing them, they won't stay silent for long. Whether it's through a statement, an interview, or even another Netflix special, they will share their side. And when they do, it will be big. But will they ever return to the UK? That's a tough question. If this discovery makes Harry lose even more trust in his family, then the chances of him ever moving back are close to zero. At the same time, if this revelation forces the royal family to admit their mistakes, could there be a path for reconciliation? For now, it seems like Harry and Meghan are focused on moving forward, but the past keeps pulling them back in. Public opinion shift. The final and biggest question. How does the world see Meghan now? For her supporters, this is proof that she was always telling the truth, that she was mistreated, that she deserved better. For her critics, well, some may still not believe her. But even they will have to admit, if Harry himself has uncovered something, then there's more to the story than they thought. This could be a turning point. Meghan has faced so much backlash over the years. But if this new discovery truly changes everything, then maybe, just maybe, people will finally see her differently. Whatever happens next, one thing is clear. This changes everything. Prince Harry's discovery has left more questions than answers, and the world is watching closely to see what comes next. Will this bring Meghan Markle into a new light, or will it only add to the mystery surrounding her? Only time will tell. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more updates. Hit the notification bell so you never miss the latest twists and turns in this ongoing saga. Stay tuned, there's always more to the story. The bodyguard says that the image of her awake, even if somewhat disoriented, is both heartbreaking and comforting. It's comforting because she was not instantly gone. Heartbreaking because it highlights that help arrived, but still couldn't save her. He also indicates that Diana actually had a faint pulse while being transferred to the ambulance. That small sign of life gave paramedics hope that they could pull her through once they got to the hospital. He mentions how the fireman, or Gallon, was stunned when he learned the victim he tried to save was Princess Diana. He had no clue who she was in the immediate moment. He was just doing his job, attempting to save a blonde crash victim with minimal visible injuries. The bodyguard insists this detail underlines why so many claims about a conspiracy to have her killed don't ring true. Nothing about the crash scene looked staged. It was chaos and confusion, and no one had a clue they were dealing with royalty. Just people in dire need of help. In the ambulance, Diana slipped in and out of consciousness. She reportedly went into cardiac arrest, prompting frantic attempts at CPR. The bodyguard has heard from those who were there that for a few short seconds, it seemed like the medical team got her heart beating again. That glimmer of hope didn't last. The internal injuries that no one could immediately see would prove fatal. She passed away at the hospital hours later while surgeons tried to fix the rupture near her heart. To this day, people argue about whether things could have been different if Diana had been rushed to the hospital faster, or if the ambulance had used a different route. The bodyguard is honest in his stance. We'll never know. He's heard the paramedics argue that the French approach to emergency care is different from the British style, that on-scene stabilization took priority over immediate transport. Regardless, it's clear Diana was far more severely hurt than her outward appearance suggested. In the end, her final words were likely the bewildered murmur of someone who realized something horrible had happened but wasn't totally aware of how life-threatening it was. The paparazzi dilemma. The final puzzle piece is the paparazzi. For a while, the entire world blamed them, and many still do. Some say that if it weren't for the relentless chase, the driver wouldn't have sped, and Diana wouldn't have died in that tunnel. Others argue that while the paparazzi's behavior was bad, the bigger problem was the presence of an intoxicated driver behind the wheel. The bodyguard offers a more nuanced view. In his mind, the paparazzi were definitely contributing to the tension and panic, but the entire security apparatus around Diana had collapsed under the weight of her newfound independence. He insists that the paparazzi's aggression was no new phenomenon. Diana had faced them from the moment reporters learned of her relationship with Prince Charles all those years ago. She was used to stepping off a curb while a cluster of cameras blocked her path. She had even cooperated with some journalists in the past, trying to harness the media's power to promote her charitable causes. But her romance with Dodi brought a new level of frenzy. Tabloids couldn't get enough of the millionaire's playboy son and the world's most famous ex-royal. Everyone wanted that exclusive shot, maybe a kiss, a whisper, a moment of tension. The financial rewards for such photos were enormous, spurring the paparazzi to drive recklessly through Paris in pursuit. Yet the bodyguard says it's too simplistic to say the paparazzi alone caused the crash. He points out that Dodi was also determined to slip away undetected, rushing out into the night against any better judgment. The security detail was so scattered that they ended up relying on a deputy head of Ritz security with an unconfirmed blood alcohol level. The bodyguard calls it a perfect storm. Sure, the paparazzi's pushy presence was the flashpoint, but every step up to that point was flawed. He believes that if any single safeguard had been in place, say, if a professional chauffeur with a sober background had been driving, Diana might have arrived safely at Dodi's apartment. The paparazzi were intrusive and callous, but they weren't the sole reason the car crashed at high speed. He also remembers hearing about how some paparazzi, after the accident, rushed forward with cameras instead of offering help. That, he says, is a moment that reveals how twisted the tabloid culture was. Emergency personnel had to push them back. Meanwhile, the bodyguard was fielding frantic calls from staff wanting updates on Diana's condition. Some paparazzi claimed they were just doing their jobs, while others insisted they had tried to help once they realized how severe the crash was. Regardless, the damage was done. In the months and years after Diana's death, there was a global outcry over paparazzi tactics. People demanded new laws, new protections. Yet, the bodyguard feels that the world has a short memory. Over time, sensational pictures still fetch high prices, and paparazzi culture hasn't disappeared. In his view, Diana's death could have led to a real overhaul, ensuring celebrities or public figures were better shielded from reckless pursuit. Instead, the conversation fizzled out, overshadowed by conspiracy theories, official investigations, and changing headlines. He calls the entire night a giant security failure, because so many systems that should have protected Diana left her exposed. She was no longer a royal highness with tight palace protocols, and she hadn't yet established her own bulletproof network of experienced security. Dodi's wealth and connections, ironically, did not translate into the safest possible environment. The paparazzi just turned up the pressure, turning a risky strategy into a lethal one. Confrontations with the royal establishment and legal hurdles. When the shocking car crash in Paris claimed Princess Diana's life, millions worldwide turned to the royal family for comfort and answers. Many people felt the monarchy should have offered a warmer, more transparent response to the tragedy. Suddenly, a quiet tension seeped out into the open. Private frustrations boiled over, and individuals searched for someone to blame. In the middle of this storm stood the princess's on and off security circle, a small group of men charged with keeping her safe, yet powerless on that fateful night. Eventually, one of these men chose to speak out. For years, the bodyguard had been more than just a silent figure in Diana's orbit. He knew the lines of succession, the restrictions of palace protocol, and the consequences of stepping out of place. But in the aftermath of the accident, the royal establishment tried to close ranks. That's when he realized there might be more at stake than simply defending the public image of the monarchy. Documents needed signing, hush-hush agreements were laid on the table, and he braced for confrontation. Some key palace aides wanted a smooth, simple narrative. Yes, it was all a terrible accident. Blame the driver. Condolences to the family. Let us move on. But the bodyguard felt something else brewing. Countless awkward questions nobody wanted to address. Had the princess been left with subpar protection once her divorce was finalized? Why did everything feel so uncoordinated that night in Paris? Why were certain eyewitness accounts brushed aside? The tension with the monarchy did not take the form of a flashy showdown in the corridors of Buckingham Palace, but rather subtle forms of pressure. Insiders murmured about whether the bodyguard should sign non-disclosure papers. Close associates hinted that legal trouble might arise if he ever contradicted official statements. To him, it was all too obvious that some corners of the royal establishment saw him as a loose end, someone who had no official place in the firm once Diana was gone. Others within the palace were more empathetic. They quietly admitted there was a deep sadness in how Diana's final hours played out, and they feared the scandal could spin out of control if too many conflicting stories emerged. The bodyguard saw it from both angles. The monarchy had lost one of its brightest stars, and the entire institution was staggering under public grief and growing media hostility. He also became wrapped up in the complicated swirl of legal proceedings. French authorities launched an investigation into the crash. British officials monitored from across the channel, keen to see how the blame game would unfold. Paparazzi who had chased Diana's car were briefly detained, then released. Some tabloids even tested the waters of sensational conspiracy theories, claiming that Diana had been targeted by shady forces. The bodyguard recalls feeling torn between his loyalty to the memory of the princess and the rules that came with any brush against royal life. Stepping forward could place him on a collision course with powerful individuals who had no interest in seeing the official reports questioned. He wasn't alone. Other staff members, including the late Diana's aides and butlers, also faced tough choices about talking to the media or cooperating with various legal teams. A few who had once been close to the princess gave interviews that stoked further allegations of a cover-up or hints of neglected safety protocols. The bodyguard, though, wanted to keep his head above water, mindful of not just the monarchy's lawyers, but also Dodi Fayed's father, Mohammed Al-Fayed, a man determined to prove a larger plot was at work. The tug-of-war between different factions left him exhausted. Why he's breaking his silence now? After the crash, the bodyguard didn't immediately rush to the press. He was haunted by guilt and plagued by nightmares about that chaotic night in the Pont de l'Alma underpass. He knew his story could easily be twisted or overshadowed by the frenzy of tabloid headlines clamoring for shocking details. For years, he remained in the background, trying to find normalcy in a world that could not stop talking about Princess Diana's death. When he looked in the mirror, he saw the face of someone who felt he had let down the one person he was supposed to protect. No matter how many times people pointed out that he wasn't the driver, and that Diana had made her own choices that night, he still shouldered the regret. He also carried around his memories of Diana. How she sipped tea with staff in the early evening, how she quietly supported her sons, and how she faced cameras with an almost unearthly calm. But he was aware of her private pain as well. Opinions about Diana had become polarized. Some cast her as a saintly figure. Others claimed she was manipulative. He knew her best as a kind, flawed individual under too much pressure. He found it increasingly painful to watch her legacy boil down to conspiracy theories, paparazzi standoffs, and old footage of that final summer with Dodi Fayed. Every few years, major anniversaries of Diana's passing triggered a wave of press coverage. The bodyguard would get calls from old colleagues or journalists, each seeking exclusive anecdotes. He consistently refused, telling himself it was better to let the official narrative stand. But time can change perspective. As he saw documentaries and articles sensationalize the same old angles, he began to suspect that people might benefit from a fresh viewpoint. Someone who had lived in her shadow. Someone who had no interest in fanning conspiracy flames, but also no desire to whitewash the chaos of that final night. Why speak out now? He says it was a slow process, not a single event. He began talking confidentially to a therapist, struggling with the trauma of seeing the princess lying in the wrecked car, her eyes sometimes fluttering as first responders tried to keep her alive. He confesses to nights spent awake, replaying the same images. Headlights cutting through smoky air, paparazzi yelling. The terrifying moment he realized it was Diana in mortal peril. As the nightmares persisted, he felt a need for catharsis, not just for himself, but for the public that still aches when they remember those headlines. So he decided enough was enough. He was done hiding behind the hush-hush environment that typically surrounds royal staff.
Can't mimic voices for love or money. I'm completely hopeless at it. I was a really bad actor at school, and
In a stunning development that has sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace, Tom Parker Bowles, son of Queen Camilla, has been sentenced in a case cloaked in unprecedented secrecy. The ruling, delivered behind closed doors and mysteriously absent from public court records, has resulted in his immediate removal from public life. Palace officials have imposed an extraordinary information blackout, but our sources have uncovered the disturbing reality behind his sudden disappearance. What could the Queen's son have done to warrant such severe consequences? And why has the royal family gone to extreme lengths to keep it hidden? Stay tuned, because this revelation will forever change how you view the British monarchy. The Secret Tribunal. On what appeared to be an ordinary Tuesday morning, Tom Parker Bowles arrived at a nondescript government building in London's diplomatic quarter. Unlike the high-profile court appearances of celebrities or politicians, there were no press photographers, no waiting crowds, just an unmarked entrance guarded by individuals who carried no visible identification, but moved with unmistakable military precision. Dressed in a conservative gray suit with no distinctive features, Tom was escorted through a private entrance and vanished from public view. A food critic and author who had carefully balanced his royal connections with an independent career, his expression betrayed no emotion as the doors closed behind him. Inside awaited what one source described as a tribunal rather than a court. The small windowless room contained only essential personnel. A panel of 3 judges with specialized security clearance, legal representatives who identified themselves only by last name, and a defense team that our sources claim had been appointed rather than selected by Tom himself. This wasn't a legal proceeding as the public would understand it, revealed a source with connections to diplomatic security protocols. This was risk containment operating under the thinnest veneer of judicial process. The charges, while never formally announced, allegedly centered around unauthorized communications with foreign entities, specifically, individuals connected to both international media organizations and foreign intelligence services. According to our sources, Tom had been under surveillance for months after certain patterns of communication raised red flags within royal security circles. It began with his legitimate food writing contacts, explained a former colleague who requested anonymity. But somewhere along the line, he began exchanging information that went far beyond culinary matters. Information about palace operations, security protocols, and most damaging of all, private communications between senior royals regarding matters of state. What made this case particularly sensitive was the nature of the information involved. Unlike typical royal scandals centered around personal indiscretions, the material Tom allegedly shared touched on the monarchy's relationship with government, the constitutional gray area where royal influence intersects with political power. During the 7-hour proceeding, Tom reportedly maintained the composed demeanor that had characterized his public life. He spoke only when directly addressed by the tribunal, neither confirming nor denying specific allegations. Those present described his bearing as resigned rather than defiant, the demeanor of someone who understood the institutional machinery he faced. The ruling, when delivered late that afternoon, was extraordinary in both scope and severity. While not termed imprisonment in any conventional sense, the sentence mandated Tom's immediate sequestration at an undisclosed location, with no access to communication devices, publication platforms, or unapproved visitors. The official terminology, protective isolation for reasons of national security, barely concealed the reality: permanent removal from public life. As Tom was escorted from the room through a secure exit, he reportedly made a single statement to the senior security official overseeing the operation. "Tell my mother I understand the necessity." This phrase, cryptic to those unfamiliar with royal dynamics, has been interpreted by insiders as acknowledgement of the monarchy's ultimate priority: institutional survival above individual interests, even when family is involved. Within hours, he had been transported from London via military aircraft, his destination known only to a handful of officials with the highest security clearances. The containment operation. The palace's official statement, released the following morning, made no reference to any proceedings. It simply announced that Tom Parker Bowles would be stepping back from public duties indefinitely to address private health matters and requested privacy. The brevity and vagueness only intensified speculation among royal observers. Behind the scenes, an elaborate operation was already underway, not just to manage Tom's physical removal, but to systematically erase evidence of his activities. Teams with specialized training in digital forensics simultaneously accessed his London apartment, office, and country home. Computers were seized, mobile devices confiscated, and physical documents removed. But the operation extended far beyond simple evidence gathering. This wasn't just about collecting materials, revealed a source with knowledge of security protocols. This was about eliminating all digital footprints, scrubbing communication records, and creating an alternative narrative about his absence that could withstand public scrutiny. Most telling was the treatment of his professional workspace. According to witnesses, the office where Tom wrote his food columns and books was not simply searched, but methodically dismantled. Digital storage devices were removed. Reference materials were cataloged and transported to secure facilities. Even seemingly innocuous items like notebooks and appointment calendars were treated as sensitive materials requiring special handling. The thoroughness suggested not just concern about what he might have already shared, but fear about what channels of communication he might have established that remained undiscovered. There was serious concern about dead drops, scheduled information releases, or material already positioned with publishers overseas, explained a former intelligence officer familiar with such operations. When someone with his connections commits to sharing sensitive information, the ripple effects can continue long after they've been contained. This fear drove the next phase of the operation, identifying and neutralizing potential associates. Editors who had worked with Tom found themselves subject to unusual scrutiny. Publishers reported subtle pressure to delay or cancel projects involving him. The pattern revealed a coordinated effort to isolate anyone who might have served as his conduit to the wider world. Digital traces began disappearing as well. His social media accounts were either suspended or suddenly managed with notably different content and tone. Archives of television appearances where he had discussed royal connections became mysteriously unavailable on streaming platforms. Even photographs in which he appeared at royal-adjacent events were quietly removed from official sources and media libraries. Most concerning to those tracking the situation was the treatment of his published work. His most recent food columns disappeared from publication archives. Bookstores reported receiving requests to return unsold copies of his latest cookbook for a corrected edition that never arrived. The systematic removal of his professional output suggested concerns that extended beyond personal indiscretion to something embedded in his public work. The concern wasn't just what he knew, but how he might have encoded that knowledge in his published writing, suggested a literary analyst who had studied similar cases of writers under government scrutiny in other countries. Food writing provides remarkable cover for transmitting information through seemingly innocent references. Ingredients can be code names. Preparation techniques can signify methods of operation. Restaurant locations can indicate meeting points. The royal family fractures. Behind palace walls, Tom's sentence reportedly created the most significant family crisis since Prince Andrew's fall from grace. Queen Camilla, caught between maternal instinct and institutional duty, was described by insiders as outwardly stoic, but inwardly devastated. According to sources familiar with palace operations, she was informed of the action against her son only hours before it occurred, presented not as a request for her approval, but as a security necessity already in motion. Camilla was effectively told, rather than consulted, said one palace source. This wasn't a mother being asked about her son's fate. This was a queen being briefed on an operation affecting the monarchy's security. King Charles, meanwhile, allegedly maintained a more detached position. Sources suggest he viewed Tom's actions through an institutional lens rather than a personal one, as a security breach requiring containment rather than a family matter requiring compassion. This perspective has reportedly created tension in the royal marriage, with moments of strained silence replacing their usually warm rapport. The king sees monarchy as his life's purpose, explained a longtime royal advisor. Threats to its stability override personal considerations, even when family is involved. Camilla hasn't yet developed that institutional callousness that royal life eventually demands. Prince William has reportedly supported the action, viewing it as regrettable but necessary for protecting the monarchy's future. According to palace insiders, he was among those briefed on specific communications intercepted from Tom and recognized their potential to undermine public confidence in royal neutrality on political matters, a cornerstone of the modern monarchy's survival. Most surprisingly, Princess Anne, known for her dedication to duty and protocol, has allegedly questioned the handling of the situation. Sources claim she has expressed concern about the precedent of removing a royal-adjacent figure through extrajudicial means, suggesting that, once we operate outside the law, we undermine the very system we claim to uphold. For Tom's sister, Laura Lopes, the situation has allegedly triggered profound distress. Unlike her brother, Laura has maintained an intensely private life despite her royal connections. Sources close to her family report that she has made repeated requests to contact her brother, all of which have been denied citing security protocols. Laura is essentially being told that any attempt to reach her brother could implicate her as well, revealed one source. It's a cruel but effective method of ensuring family compliance, the implicit threat that concern could be interpreted as complicity. For Queen Camilla herself, the situation has created an impossible position. Sources describe a woman torn between institutional obligation and maternal anguish, permitted no direct communication with her son since the sentencing. All information about his welfare and circumstances comes through official briefings provided by the same security apparatus that engineered his removal. In public, she performs flawlessly, noted one senior household member. In private, the strain shows in small ways. Moments of distraction, unusual irritability, the occasional canceled engagement citing mild indisposition. She's grieving while having to pretend nothing significant has happened. The most poignant detail, according to those with access to the Queen's private quarters, is that she now keeps a small photograph of Tom as a child, hidden in her personal desk drawer. A silent acknowledgement of loss she cannot publicly express.
You've been on his private plane.
Yes.
You've been to stay on his private island.
Yes.
Chaos erupts within the British royal family as Prince Andrew, Prince William, and Prince Harry unite in an unprecedented legal showdown against King Charles. At the heart of this explosive feud lies a mysterious, long-hidden letter from Princess Diana, containing secrets that could shake the monarchy to its core. With the Supreme Court now involved, the battle threatens to expose untold truths and redefine the future of the British crown forever. King Charles, the monarch and the father. King Charles has spent nearly his entire life in the public eye, first as the Prince of Wales and now as the reigning monarch. But for all the royal engagements and ceremonial duties he's juggled, another big challenge has always been his role as a father. Charles's relationship with Prince William and Prince Harry has been shaped by tradition, public expectations, and the pressures of being next in line to the throne for so many years. As a father, Charles has sometimes been described as distant, though some insiders insist he tried his best, given the unusual environment his sons were raised in. Both William and Harry spent their childhoods under constant media attention, making a normal family life nearly impossible. As they got older, Charles needed to prepare William to one day inherit the crown, which meant possibly spending more time with William on future plans or official training. Harry, meanwhile, has pointed out in interviews and in his memoir, Spare, that he often felt like he came second to royal duty. This kind of criticism gives a glimpse into how hard it must have been for Charles to juggle fatherhood and duty. It's not just Charles as a dad that draws attention. He's also a brother. While there were always whispers about a certain rivalry between him and Prince Andrew, nothing was ever openly confirmed. In their younger years, Andrew seemed to relish a more carefree lifestyle, while Charles was tied to the idea that someday he would be king. Today, as monarch, Charles has had to deal with Andrew's controversies head-on. He's made decisions, such as limiting Andrew's involvement in public events, that reflect a need to protect the royal family's reputation. These moves can seem harsh, but they also reveal the heavy weight Charles now carries as the figurehead. When it comes to leadership, Charles's approach seems to mix tradition with a cautious openness to change. On the one hand, he's recognized for championing environmental causes for decades, long before it became mainstream. On the other, when it comes to family matters, he often seems to retain an old-fashioned reserve. While he might prefer to keep personal issues private, the modern media landscape has made that nearly impossible. People want to know how he really feels about Harry relocating to another country, or Andrew stepping away from public life in disgrace. Still, being king demands that Charles think about the monarchy's future above all else, which can conflict with personal connections. He must put the institution first, a dilemma that can strain his relationships. William appears cooperative, probably because he's aware he'll inherit that same responsibility. Harry's decision to walk away suggests he felt too constrained by it. Meanwhile, Andrew's troubles have forced Charles to act decisively to uphold public respect for the crown. Prince Andrew, the disgraced royal prince. Andrew was once seen as an energetic and sociable member of the royal family. Whether at fancy galas or charity events, he appeared comfortable and outgoing, carving out a public image as someone who enjoyed the perks and responsibilities of royal life. But that image took a massive hit due to his controversial links to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Andrew is often called a disgraced royal, a figure who stays mostly out of view while dealing with the fallout of past decisions. Andrew was born into a life of privilege as Queen Elizabeth II's second son. In that sense, he was the spare of his generation, a term sometimes used to describe a royal who isn't directly in line for the throne. This gave him more freedom than King Charles, who had to follow a strict path as the heir. Andrew's early years saw him serve in the Royal Navy, and he was even dubbed the party prince in the tabloids, partly because of his social circle and international travels. For a while, that easygoing image worked in his favor. However, once news broke about Andrew's friendship with Epstein, everything changed. Allegations and lawsuits arose, shining a not-so-flattering light on Andrew's personal judgment. The situation reached a tipping point when the prince gave a TV interview to clear his name. Instead, it made the public even more doubtful, leading to calls for him to step back from his royal duties. King Charles, concerned for the monarchy's reputation, supported a decision to limit Andrew's official roles. By the time Charles ascended to the throne, Andrew was already sidelined, effectively removed from the broader royal spotlight. Behind palace doors, Andrew's relationship with Charles has likely been strained by these events. Some say Andrew never felt fully supported by his older brother, even before the scandals. While there might have been sibling rivalry over the years, it's turned more serious now that Andrew is seen as a liability. Charles, as the reigning monarch, has no choice but to protect the crown's image, which means keeping Andrew at arm's length. Prince William and Prince Harry don't seem close to Andrew either. William, ready to step into bigger responsibilities, likely wants to dodge any scandals that reflect badly on the monarchy. Their interactions, if any, are probably very formal now. Harry, on the other hand, stepped away from royal life for his own reasons, and it doesn't appear that he's embraced Andrew in any significant way. So Andrew, once a fixture in royal photographs, has slipped into the background, rarely seen at public events, and often omitted from discussions about the monarchy's future. Prince William, the dutiful heir. Prince William is often praised as the dependable face of a modern monarchy. From the time he was a boy, the world has watched him grow up. He's seen triumphs, like his wedding to Catherine, Princess of Wales, and tragedies, including the loss of his mother, Princess Diana. Through it all, William has been groomed to take the throne after King Charles, meaning his every move is viewed through the lens of a future monarch. Being the heir shapes William's day-to-day life and how he relates to other family members. He carries himself with the seriousness expected of someone who will eventually wear the crown. This mindset sets him apart from Prince Harry, who famously sought more freedom away from royal duties. William, on the other hand, tends to follow the established script, attending official engagements, focusing on charitable causes, and supporting his father's reign. In public, he projects calm and stability, traits that make him popular with many Brits. Still, William's bond with King Charles isn't without its stresses. They share a common goal of protecting the monarchy, but they might not always see eye to eye on how to handle family issues. For instance, dealing with Prince Andrew's controversies or Harry's revelations can stir up strong opinions. Some watchers say William plays a key role behind the scenes, encouraging Charles to be firm in order to maintain the monarchy's image. In this sense, William acts as both a supportive son and a partner in guarding the crown. Of course, one of the most talked about aspects of William's life is his complicated relationship with Prince Harry. They used to be seen as inseparable, the two young royals who helped each other cope after Diana's passing. But recent events, like Harry stepping down from senior royal duties and moving to the United States, have put a lot of distance between them. Add in Meghan Markle's presence, bringing in her own experiences, media attention, and viewpoints. And it becomes clear that William and Harry inhabit very different worlds now. Harry has vented frustrations about palace life and family dynamics, while William has mostly stayed quiet, which some see as proof of a significant divide. When it comes to Prince Andrew, William has taken a hard line. He wants the focus on essential royal duties and forward-looking efforts. Scandals like Andrew's can pull the monarchy backward, damaging its public image. William is well aware that one day he'll have to keep the institution strong, so he has supported the decision to limit Andrew's public roles. This stance shows how William is mindful of public opinion and the long-term health of the monarchy. Prince Harry, the rebel royal prince. Harry has long been known as the Spare, a label often used for royals who aren't first in line for the throne. Growing up, he saw his older brother, Prince William, groomed for the role of future king, while he enjoyed slightly more freedom. He was viewed as fun-loving and less burdened by rigid expectations. That spare tag may have shaped Harry's personality, making him more open to new experiences and quicker to step away from palace traditions. Over the years, Harry's relationship with his father, King Charles, has become a focal point of public interest. In his memoir, Spare, Harry talks about feeling overlooked or not fully understood. He refers to certain moments when he wished Charles had been more supportive or involved on a personal level, rather than focused on the weight of royal duty. At times, Harry's words paint a picture of a father-son bond that might still be mended, but only if both sides put in serious effort. While some see the tension as permanent, others believe reconciliation could happen if they find common ground and keep it away from the media spotlight. Harry's biggest falling out, however, seems to be with William. Once a tight pair, the two princes shared a special connection after losing their mother, Diana. But as adults, their paths split sharply. Harry recounts feeling that his interests and personal concerns didn't matter in the grand scheme of royal life, while William shouldered a huge sense of responsibility as the heir. The arrival of Meghan Markle introduced another layer of change. Harry felt a need to protect Meghan from what he viewed as unfair treatment, while William and others in the family may have seen the press coverage simply as part of royal life. The result was a deeper rift that Harry has publicly acknowledged in interviews, saying he's sad about the distance between them. What about Prince Andrew? Technically, Harry and Andrew have both been labeled spares at different points in history. Does that give them a bond? If so, it doesn't show up much in public. Andrew's scandal has forced the royal family to keep him on the sidelines. Harry hasn't openly aligned himself with Andrew, suggesting that rather than bonding them, Andrew's troubles may have nudged Harry even further away from the traditional royal fold. After all, Harry left on his own terms, not because of scandal, but because he felt the system itself no longer worked for him. William and Harry, brothers divided. Prince William and Prince Harry once seemed inseparable. After losing their mother, Diana, at a young age, the two brothers leaned on each other. They attended events together, joked around in interviews, and looked like a tight team, trying to manage the pain of growing up in the public eye. For a while, many people saw them as a heartbeat of the royal family, fresh, relatable, and united in their shared experiences. Over time, though, cracks began to show. Some say the first hints of tension sprung up around the time William got married. Harry, for years, was the fun younger brother, but he started feeling like a bit of a third wheel as William's focus shifted to building his own family life. Things escalated further when Harry met Meghan Markle. Her entry into royal life brought a whirlwind of press coverage. While some praised her modern style, others fiercely criticized her or questioned her motives. Harry felt protective, but William advised caution, wanting Harry to slow down and think about the challenges of such a high-profile union. When Harry stepped back from his royal duties, affectionately dubbed Megxit by the media, the divide became obvious. The two brothers hardly appeared together, and rumors of heated arguments surfaced. Harry's public remarks about the institution being stiff and unwelcoming clashed with William's sense of duty. William, as the next in line after King Charles, focused on upholding the crown's image, while Harry wanted personal freedom and a simpler life. Their differences in approach turned into a full-blown separation. Both physically, Harry moved abroad, and emotionally. Is reconciliation possible? Some observers believe time heals all wounds. They point out that the brothers still share deep memories of Diana and a love for charity work she inspired in them. If they can reconnect on those grounds, they might find a path back to brotherly respect. Others think the damage runs deeper because Harry has been open about feeling unsupported, while William might view Harry's criticism as a personal betrayal. It might take years, major apologies, or even more changes within the monarchy before they find solid forgiveness. Public perception of William and Harry is equally split. Many in the UK see William as the dutiful heir, carefully preparing for future kingship. He's seen as reliable, steady, and respectful of tradition. Harry, on the other hand, often seems like the opposite. Outspoken, willing to criticize family norms, and determined to carve out his own destiny. Some applaud Harry for bravely speaking his truth, while others think airing the family's dirty laundry is harmful and unfair to those left behind. In the end, the story of William and Harry is a complicated blend of shared trauma, differing responsibilities, and personal choices. For spectators, it's a real-life drama unfolding in front of cameras and tabloids. For the monarchy, it's a thorny issue that raises questions about how younger generations can adapt, or clash with, an institution steeped in tradition. Whether they can rediscover their old bond is anyone's guess, but their journey is sure to remain in the spotlight for years to come. Charles and Andrew, at odds. As children of Queen Elizabeth II, King Charles and Prince Andrew grew up in a family that ran on tradition and duty. But they didn't share the same role. Charles was the heir, carrying the weight of future kingship, while Andrew was free to define his own path as the second brother. Some watchers believe this set the stage for a quiet rivalry that simmered for decades, even if it rarely made headlines. In their younger years, Andrew enjoyed a more relaxed image. He served in the Royal Navy, went on playful excursions, and was labeled the party prince by some tabloids. Charles, meanwhile, was constantly reminded that he would inherit the crown. The difference in responsibilities may have led to tension. Charles had to be careful with appearances and public statements, while Andrew didn't face the same level of scrutiny, at least not until later. Those who have observed the family suggest Andrew may have felt overshadowed and sometimes sought ways to stand out. The real problems arose when Andrew became linked to controversies, especially the scandal involving Jeffrey Epstein. This put the monarchy in a tight spot because the public expected some form of accountability. Charles, who eventually took the throne, found himself in the uncomfortable position of balancing brotherly ties and royal duty. As king, Charles can't ignore negative public opinion, especially if it involves allegations that harm the monarchy's image. So, Andrew was sidelined, stripped of many titles and public roles. Some insiders say Charles didn't relish doing this, but saw no other way to protect the crown's reputation. Under Charles's leadership, Andrew's role slid into a state of uncertainty. While Charles hasn't outright disowned his brother, he has made it clear that Andrew won't be part of the monarchy's main operations. It's a practical choice. Many people feel Andrew's presence could do more harm than good at official events. The question remains whether Charles has any plan to rehabilitate Andrew's image over time, or if he believes it's best to keep his brother out of the spotlight for good. Rumors swirl about private family discussions, but nothing concrete has emerged to show an effort to pull Andrew back into the fold. This situation points to a bigger issue. How does a royal family handle internal scandals when the modern world demands accountability? For Charles, the line between sibling solidarity and institutional duty has become blurred. He can't risk the monarchy's reputation by openly defending Andrew, but also can't erase him from the family tree. The result is a careful, if strained, relationship that reveals the human side of royal life. They may have grown up with the same parents and traditions, but their roles diverged long ago, and those differences only grew when Andrew's controversies came to light. Diana's legacy, In family relationships, Princess Diana was more than just the mother of William and Harry. She was a global icon. Even decades after her tragic death, her influence remains a powerful force in the royal family's story. She brought a sense of warmth and openness the monarchy wasn't used to, shaping how many people view William and Harry today. From her charity work to her candid way of speaking, Diana left an unforgettable mark on her sons, which has continued to shape their decisions and relationships. Diana's biggest impact is seen in how William and Harry carry on her sense of empathy. Both men often mention their mother when discussing charitable causes, mental health, and the importance of being accessible to the public. In some ways, this has led them to approach royal life differently than older generations. For William, it means combining tradition with a more down-to-earth vibe, like his mother once did. For Harry, it sparked a strong need to protect his own family from the same media intrusiveness Diana endured. One can't help but wonder how things might have turned out if Diana were still alive. She may have acted as a mediator, healing rifts before they got too big. Some suggest she would have supported Harry's desire for a more private life, while also encouraging William to understand his brother's perspective. Without Diana, the brothers lost a unifying figure who could bridge the gap between them and, perhaps, cushion their differing needs. It's impossible to know for sure, but the what-if looms over their strained relationship. Diana's legacy also touches King Charles in a complicated way. Their marriage was famously troubled, and many people still link Charles to Diana's heartbreak. Even as king, Charles faces a public that continues to adore Diana. Sometimes this perfect memory of her overshadows how people view him now. While Charles is keen on modernizing the monarchy and focusing on his own priorities, he can't fully escape comparisons to the people's princess. Anytime conflict arises with his sons, some spectators recall Diana's past struggles and wonder if history is repeating itself in a different form. The public's perception also factors in. Diana was charismatic, and her warmth drew people in. William and Harry each carry a piece of that into their public roles. But the lasting memory of Diana also reminds folks of the difficulties she faced, from media harassment to personal stress inside the palace. As Harry has aired his grievances, many fans of Diana see him as following in her footsteps, calling out what he views as an unkind system. Others believe Diana would have urged him to remain within the fold, finding a gentler way to handle disagreements. In the end, Diana serves as a guiding light and a complicated legacy for this royal family. Her influence is clear in how William and Harry approach their roles and in how the people view Charles's leadership. Though she's gone, her spirit continues to shape family ties, providing both comfort and a reminder of unresolved issues. Everyone in the family seems to keep a piece of Diana with them, whether they focus on her compassion or the lessons learned from her struggles. Her memory remains a key part of the conversation, reminding us that the human side of royalty can leave the biggest impact of all. The Queen's effect on the family. Queen Elizabeth II led the British monarchy for over 70 years, a remarkable record that gave her a steady hand in dealing with countless family challenges. Throughout her reign, she maintained a strict sense of duty. She rarely showed open conflict when it came to personal matters, preferring to keep any tensions behind palace doors. Many believe her calm and consistent approach helped hold the family together during times that could have escalated into more public drama. Her influence was visible in how she guided her children and grandchildren. She had a knack for balancing tradition with small steps toward modernity, such as allowing television cameras behind the scenes at certain royal events. When crises occurred, like divorces, scandals, or disagreements, she often leaned on the old royal strategy of never complain, never explain. In many cases, it seemed to work. The public tended to see her as above everyday squabbles, which helped preserve a sense of stability for the monarchy. Now that the Queen has passed away, there's a sense of a vacuum at the top. King Charles has assumed the throne, but he doesn't command the same level of long-earned trust his mother did. Her death may have opened the door for underlying family issues to pop up more openly. With her steady presence gone, disagreements that once seemed manageable, like the tensions surrounding Prince Andrew's scandals or Prince Harry's departure, feel more raw and harder to contain. Some people wonder if she favored certain family members over others. Rumors have floated around that Prince Andrew was particularly close to her, possibly leading him to expect more leniency when his personal life attracted controversy. In contrast, Prince Harry has hinted that he wished for more direct intervention from the Queen when he and Meghan felt mistreated. The Queen herself never confirmed if she had favorites. Several royal observers argue that her level-headed stance allowed her to treat all family members with composure, even if they occasionally felt they weren't getting enough personal attention. Still, family dynamics can be complicated. While the Queen projected unflappable composure, each relative had a different kind of bond with her. Charles knew her as both mother and reigning monarch, balancing affection with formality. Andrew seemed to rely on her for emotional support when public criticism grew loud. William grew up aware he was a future king and formed a special connection with his grandmother, seeing her as a mentor. Harry often described her with great warmth, even as he broke away from the royal fold. Everyone had their own story when it came to the Queen. Without the Queen's quiet guidance, it's fair to assume the four central royals, Charles, Andrew, William, and Harry, have lost a central figure who could smooth over conflicts. In the Queen's absence, each must figure out how to handle issues that now fall fully on their shoulders. It remains to be seen if they can preserve the unity she worked so hard to maintain, or if the loss of her calming presence will continue to widen the cracks already showing in the family's foundation. As personal grudges, public scandals, and generational divides continue to shape the royal family, the question remains, can they find common ground, or is this the beginning of a permanent fracture? The answer will depend on how open they are to change, compromise, and a willingness to leave old wounds behind. Whether they succeed or not will likely define the monarchy's role in a world that moves faster than ever. And for these royals, it's not just about saving face. It's about preserving a family unit that carries centuries of history, all while trying to stay relevant for generations yet to come.